welcome everybody to this week's episode of Too Sweet Converse, brought to you by Too Sweet Cosplay. This is a YouTube channel. I am Nico.
I'm Wildcard.
EJV.
All right, great. So we got a couple topics today involving two of the biggest WWE superstars in AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. We're also going to be going over the Money in the Bank card with our own predictions. So starting off, let's get to business. Here we go. So guys, Roman Reigns has been off of WWE TV for the past couple of months. Since WrestleMania 36, pretty much, he was swapped in for Braun Strowman to take on Goldberg. And word has it that he and the WWE aren't really on good terms. So what do you think? Do you think the rumors are true, especially since he's been removed from some of their media and allegedly has been told, the crew has been told not to mention his name on TV? Who would like to start this topic off?
I'll go. First of all, did somebody just do the Roman Reigns ooh-ah thing right there at the opening? Who did that? I heard that. Okay, no one's gonna own up to. Oh, it was Ezra. And Steve-O's doing the fist thing. Wow. Keep it PG, guys. Anyways, look, this is how I look at it. Honestly, who cares? Now, before you guys jump the gun and think, oh, Nico doesn't like Roman Reigns, I am a Roman Reigns fan. Is he my favorite wrestler? No, not by any means. But the man has put in the work. He's done the travel. He's been the top guy for years. He was already anointed the future of the company way back in 2013 when the Shield first showed up towards the end of 2012. That he was probably going to be the guy. And if you actually watch some of his FCW stuff when he was Liaki, he was actually pretty good with his heel persona. They only did it for a brief time. They mentioned it on the FCW documentary thing on the network. Roman Reigns is pretty good heel, so he can work the mic. Anyways, fast forward to now, probably he is the guy, whether people like it or not. But honestly, who cares? And what I mean by that with this whole ordeal is Roman doesn't need to do anything else in the WWE. He has nothing else to prove. There's nothing else for him, honestly, for him to do. He's main evented multiple WrestleManias. He's gotten the big checks. He's been world champion multiple times. Been in top of the line, top build storyline year after year after year with just about anybody in the company. What else is for him? What's left for him to do, basically, is what I'm saying here. I don't think he's going to be in that much hot water. I think this will all blow over. I mean, we've seen WWE forgive people for a lot worse transgressions that have been on the outs with the company for years. I don't see this that much as a big deal. The bigger issue, in my opinion, with all of this is what happens when you don't have so when somebody like Roman is off television as a top star, to sort of pick up the ball and run with it, so to speak. That's my take on it.
Okay, EJV, what's your thoughts?
Well, for right now, I can't really say with 100% certainty that the WWE is quote unquote mad at him or upset with him. As we said, Roman is immunocompromised. He can't endanger himself and his family by doing these shows, because if he catches COVID-19, he can transfer it to everybody else, and then everybody else is being hot water. And I understand why Roman stepped aside. I mean, if the rumors are true, WWE will get over it, and they'll eventually forgive him. Maybe they're just removing him for these images to keep him out of the talks for future storylines, because we don't know when this whole thing is going to blow over, so we don't know when Roman is going to be back. You don't know if he's going to be back next week. You don't know if he's going to be back next year. It's going to be dependent on how far along the process is on getting this virus contained. And like Nico said, Roman has nothing to prove. He's won every single major championship. He's won the Royal Rumble. He's done everything there needs to be done for a singles competitor. He's even won tag titles. That man, he doesn't need to prove a damn thing to anybody. He's not my 100% my favorite wrestler either. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if WWE's mad at him. Roman is making the right decision. So, in the end, it'll all blow over and things will get back to normal and we will see Roman Reigns back on WWE TV.
Yeah, and to kind of cut, I don't mean to cut anybody off here, but to kind of piggyback real quick off of what he's saying, Roman Reigns is going to be fine. WWE is going to be fine. Everyone needs to understand this and realize all the athletes, all the professional wrestlers, all the contractors, whatever you want to call them, since they're technically not employees by WWE standards, they're all spokes on a wheel. And what I mean by that is, even though Roman is basically on the outs right now, allegedly, maybe WWE's being a little petty about this, but they are going to be fine. Roman Reigns is going to be fine. People who are saying, oh, Roman Reigns could possibly go to somewhere else like New Japan. Okay, cool. Guess what? If Roman Reigns went to New Japan, I guarantee you that guy would find a way to get over. Like I said earlier, I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fans by any stretch of the imagination, but the dude knows how to get over. He's made his money. If he were to go somewhere else, he would be fine. WWE would be fine. We've seen them move on from Hogan, from Brett, from Shawn, Austin, Rock, etc., etc. You're not stopping WWE just because the guy right now is basically on the outs.
All right, wild card. How about you? What are your thoughts?
So the thing is, I feel like that both Nico and they covered a lot on what I was thinking about Roman, and honestly, for me, it's really hard to say because I can't necessarily know what the accuracy with these rumors are because sometimes and honestly, I think it'd be kind of ridiculous for WWE to really phase Roman away completely from WWE because of how much of a draw that he is and how much investment that they've put into him to be this big megastar in a sense. And like E and Nico said, that he's won every single title. He's done pretty much everything that there is to accomplish in WWE. I mean, what else is there for him right now? And it's not really the best time for him to even be in WWE with everything that's going on and with his health issues. And honestly, it took me a while to really have any kind of respect for Roman because I never really liked Roman to begin with. Well, I mean, basically, I just didn't like the guy. That's kind of that's just my own personal opinion. But I'll just try to keep this short here. I think he's definitely earned my respect for wanting to watch over his own health as opposed to wanting to compete for the Universal title at WrestleMania. I mean, that takes a lot to make that kind of decision. So, I mean, that's much props to him for wanting to watch over his own health as opposed to competing in the biggest stage in wrestling right now. So, I mean, that's really my take on Roman at this point.
Okay, and before we get to the next topic, I'll share my final thoughts as well. There are a lot of theories out there, and you guys are 100% correct. They're really, like, if Roman was to leave, like, today at the end of this podcast, I don't think that he could leave being ashamed of his accomplishments, or anyone would think of him otherwise. I do think there may be some upset stuff behind management, just being that they had to switch that WrestleMania 36 main event so last minute, and they were like even trying to hide that Roman wasn't going to be at WrestleMania until that Friday of SmackDown, where they just did that abrupt announcement of Braun Strowman being in the match. But to get to the chase, whatever happens in the end, I bet when the arenas open up, we're going to see Roman Reigns back in action among the other WWE superstars. I think that, bygones will be bygones and they'll move on. So while I do feel maybe there's a small hint of hostility, I don't think it's going to be forever. So that being said, let's get to the next topic. And I think one that most of you guys are looking forward to discussing. Yeah. So let's get to it. AJ Styles returned Monday on Raw, and he won the spot in the gauntlet match for the Money in the Bank spot to replace Apollo Crews in it. Do you guys think it was too early to bring him back? And do you think, despite this low rating for Raw on Monday, that eventually it's going to pay off? Or do you think that WWE just jumped the gun too soon? Who would like to start this topic off?
I'll go ahead.
E. Yep, you got it. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead, E.
To me, I don't think that they brought him back too soon. I think they needed the star power to really elevate the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great talent on there, but AJ's on another level, as we've all seen for the past 20 years, you know. But here's the problem that I have, is that he, in his promo after the match was over, and even in the way he came out, you were in a buried alive match, basically. A boneyard match, a buried alive match against The Undertaker. You got buried alive.
Boneyard match.
Tell me, they say matches like that, the Elimination Chamber, many other matches like that, horrific matches, they change you forever. You figured that after being buried alive, that AJ would come out either with different gear, that he would come out with a different attitude, maybe a more vicious streak, maybe a little bit more of a darker edge. He came out as the same phenomenal AJ Styles that we've been seeing for the past couple years. And in his promo afterwards, he basically said that the match didn't even matter. He basically said, I got buried alive at WrestleMania. So what? That basically, to me, says that the match they had at WrestleMania, the match that was so highlighted above everything else, meant nothing. The ending didn't mean anything. And that's something that just threw me for a loop. Like, why didn't you really sell the fact I got buried alive by The Undertaker? It changed me. It changed me for the worse. My kids were crying at home because they didn't know if I was going to come back. My wife was crying at home because she didn't know if I was going to come back. Now, I'm here and I'm back and I'm going to win that match. That's the problem, is that he basically blew off the whole match and the storyline behind it. They could have really built something off of that, and they didn't. So it meant nothing.
Yeah, that's great. And I do agree. Who would like to take the next topic?
I guess I'll go. I won't be terribly long here. But when I saw AJ come out, I was just like, is he supposed to be dead? That was really my reaction to it. But you know, I'm kind of indifferent about this, honestly. Because yes, I do agree that Raw is in need of some star power, but I also am a little bit confused over the fact that, you know, why did they bring him back so soon? Because, I mean, I've been hearing reports after the, you know, WrestleMania match that he had with Taker that he was going to take some much needed time off. And I'm just like, okay, we probably won't be seeing AJ for another 2-3 months or something like that. He doesn't need to come back. There's really nothing for him. He needs to go home and be with his family, you know, because he deserves it. Because the guy has worked his ass off to be the best damn pro wrestler in the game today. And I mean, I just felt like that, in my opinion, that they kind of jumped the gun a little bit too soon on bringing him back. However, though, I am very intrigued to see what he can do in a Money in a Bank match, because I don't think we've ever seen AJ Styles in a Money in a Bank match, from my recollection, during his time in WWE. So
you're wrong, by the way, on that. He was in a Money in the Bank match in 2018.
Was he? I must have missed that there. So, but either way, it's. I was just gonna say that with AJ just coming back, I just kind of felt like it was just a little bit too soon, or with the whole decision on that. So that's just my take.
All right, Nico. Yeah, how about you, man? What are your thoughts of this whole ordeal?
Yeah, WWE pulled the trigger way too early. They have a tendency in doing that, like everyone is saying. They should have waited a few more months and sold the fact, because what you basically just did, the number one thing we've been talking about the WWE with everything going on in the world, the one thing that we've been highlighting and that we've been praising about WWE for WrestleMania this was the Boneyard match. That was probably the number one thing during this whole COVID-19 pandemic that we are all praising and we are commending and we're, saying, oh my God, this was the best thing ever, etc., etc. Dave Meltzer rate that shit 5 stars. He'll rate it 6 if it was in Japan, but you basically just crapped all over it by having AJ come back here early. But WWE, they always do this. A prime example. Look at the summer of CM Punk 2011. Yes, I'm wearing a Punk shirt, but look at that storyline. The original plan of thinking when he won the title of Money in the Bank was to keep him off until November, but they're like, no, 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 no. We need you for SummerSlam. It's a big pay-per-view. We really, really need you. Okay, fine. But what happened, the whole thing of him being gone with the title for X amount of time only lasted 2 weeks.
Yep.
So here we go with the AJ Styles thing. We're talking about the Boneyard match as the best thing WWE has done in quite some time. The best part of the biggest show of the year, and in less than a month, it's forgotten, and it's kind of like, oh, it doesn't really matter because he says, so what, I got buried alive. But yet, like to Ezra's point, there's nothing changing about his character. He's not acting different. He's not coming out in different gear. There's not that whole vicious side. I was hoping that maybe when they did finally bring him back, he would kind of have that vicious side like he did a few years ago in WWE when he was starting the feud with Shane McMahon and he slapped the hell out of Vince and he was getting real more aggressive and he was real angry. That's what I was kind of hoping out of AJ as soon as he came back from this from being buried alive. Maybe they can build to that, but just right now it's off to a rocky start. You could use the whole thing where AJ starts to change his attitude and be more aggressive, not only just from being buried alive, but we all know that his boys, Gallows and Anderson, are no longer affiliated with the WWE. So, you could have used that as a reason to be more angry, aggressive, or upset, in WWE. So I'm just not liking what they're doing so far. So far, it's just like, okay, great. AJ Styles in the Money in the Bank match. All right, cool. But I guarantee you, if you would have put anybody else in that spot, AJ is not the selling point of the Money in the Bank match. The selling point of the Money in the Bank match is Money in the Bank itself and the fact that, it's being done at Titan Towers simultaneously with the women's Money in the Bank match. So, I mean, yeah, it's cool that AJ's in the match, but he didn't need to be. And they brought him back way too early, in my opinion.
So let me just add one more thing. Can I just add one more thing before? Yeah, just it'll be quick here. So I mean, the thing that really what I thought was really interesting, and this is kind of piggybacking on what E and Nico was saying, is that when AJ actually did come out, like as if nothing ever happened after the Boneyard match, he was still wearing his OC shirt, which is, I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting because this was after after Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows were released, and I thought that was just like, wait, why is he still doing that? I mean, is it just paying homage just to them, or if it's just
that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just like as if it was almost like I said, it's like what Ezra was saying before. It's almost like the Boneyard match just didn't happen at all, And I thought that was just kind of like it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I just thought that was something to point out and note.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like, I don't know, maybe I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, but it kind of looks like maybe they're setting up for a rematch at SummerSlam between him and Taker. Because of the promo, if you heard he's like, it did nothing, the Undertaker did nothing to stop me, and you're like, okay, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
If he beat you, why are you still calling him out. Granted, don't get me wrong, I
Right.
love seeing AJ Styles on my screen. AJ Styles, in my opinion, is the best professional wrestler right now. I'll argue that with just about anybody. But they brought him back way too early.
Yeah. Steve, what do you got, man?
Okay, so I did a quick look through to see if AJ was in the Money in the Bank, and we're being joined by the Bratty Finley, our mascot. But anyways, to get to the point here, he actually, just really quick, he was in the 2017 Money in the Bank. I was trying to remember because I was at the 2018 Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
He had a match with Nakamura.
Okay.
You were right, Nico, that he was for a fact in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
I completely
Yeah, it's just something that totally slipped my mind there.
Yeah,
so.
that was the face-off with him and Shinsuke, right?
Yeah.
they had their
That
fourth
was like the
match
big thing
at
for the
Money in the
match.
Bank.
And then him and Shinsuke had the face off, and then that's what kind of build towards maybe they could possibly wrestle each other one-on-one, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna end up doing that at Mania. Shinsuke wins the Rumble. AJ got the title a few months prior. Bada bing, bada boom. There we are. So like,
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. So he has been in a match. I guess the big thing is he hasn't won a Money in the Bank match, and the same argument goes for Rey Mysterio. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that a little more later in our predictions. But as far as bringing him back, I know they needed a rating surge. Obviously, it didn't work out to their favor because of the low rating record this week. But he wasn't really advertised for it. Noticeably, they're going to be doing a Edge and Randy Orton return next week. But getting on to AJ Styles himself, I'm okay with them returning. They do need the star power. Their ratings are getting lower. I mean, in the end, they're still in the top 10 in cable. I think until that time where they go under 10 is where they're going to have to start worrying. But as far as AJ's return, yeah, I don't like that they just didn't really do anything to change his look. Like, I've been through hell and I'm back here and I want revenge, or I'm going to change my life. They didn't do anything to his persona. I didn't like that part at all. I just wish they maybe could have done something different. I did think that was very unique that he had the OC gear on, with Gallows and Anderson being gone. But I think in the long term, AJ Styles, he's one of the best WWE superstars in my opinion. Maybe one of the best wrestlers of all time. But I just think that eventually things will get back. But of course, like past storylines where people either get fired or released, like Stone Cold or John Cena returning days or weeks later. And I think that they'll make it work. But just right now, maybe they could have done things a little differently. So, is there anything else any of you guys would like to add to the topic?
No, not really.
No, I think we covered it all.
I'm good.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next topic. It's the segment of the week that interacts with all of you, the people watching the video. It's the Cosplayer of the Week segment. And this week's cosplayer is Steven Mioduszewski. I made sure to get his name right just to pronounce that because it's a bit of words. But who would like to start off reading his introduction? Any of you guys?
I could start it off.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then I can pass the baton off here. All right, so Steven has been featured on Too Sweet Cosplay's pages before for various cosplays he has done, had at WrestleMania Access. So he started cosplaying in 2016, but previously he dressed up for Halloween every year, but had never been to a convention in cosplay. So in late 2015, after watching Owen Hart's DVD, which is really good by the way, he wanted to cosplay him eventually. Can't say that I blame him. He looks great in it.
Yeah.
He started off his first cosplay as the Hot Rod himself, Roddy Piper, at WrestleMania 32. The following years, he was Chris Jericho, and then The Miz, and then eventually, of course, brought us the King of Hearts.
The only convention Steven has been to so far is New York Comic Con 2019. I've been to that one in 2015. When things get better, I highly recommend any of you guys try to go out there. It's almost a San Diego Comic-Con equivalent.
Yeah. So yep. I was gonna say you could just lobby con it and still have a great time with that.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
He went as the Miz there, but otherwise he mostly just does his cosplays during the WrestleMania weekend, which very, very good weekend for wrestling cosplay. Would anyone like to read the next line?
Yeah, I'm trying to read everything here. Steve got into wrestling in 1995. He went to a local mom and pop like video shop store. You know, back in the day, kids, when we wanted our wrestling videos, we went to places like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video on the weekends, Friday night after school when you get a large pizza from Pizza Hut or something, to go get your wrestling VHS video games. Hey, I used to do that too every Friday. Leave me alone.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
My old Batman from the video store.
Oh my god.
He got a copy of WWF Royal Rumble on Sega Genesis. I absolutely hated that game, but he loved it.
I owned it. It was fun.
Yeah. I remember that game. Yeah.
He's like, I asked my mom what it was. She told me it was wrestling. After playing it, he just wanted to watch wrestling. So I guess after playing that video game, he kind of got submerged into the sport we know and love.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read more here. Hold on. First wrestling event he watched was the Royal Rumble from 1993 on VHS. And as the rest they say is rock and roll history, he was immediately hooked. His top 10 wrestlers are The Miz, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Owen Hart, Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, with his number one all-time favorite being The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to read the next paragraph?
I'll take it from here. So yeah. For those, I was gonna say, for everyone that's listening that doesn't really know what the hell we were talking about the Blockbuster thing, yeah, we're gonna confuse the hell out of a lot of the new generation here. So
What's Blockbuster?
The only thing I gotta say is be kind.
they're gonna be. Yeah. Oh
hey, wait.
God.
That's
another discussion. That's another discussion for another day here.
Wait, hold on.
Hold
on though. Who still has their Blockbuster card? Show of hands.
I do.
Shoot, I have an old Blockbuster case somewhere downstairs in my basement.
Right.
Yeah,
hey, did you never? Right. Like, who did not keep the cases? Or like, then remember, like towards the end, they're like, oh, if you want to rent a game, you could just buy it outright. I'm like, oh, really? Cool.
I swear, kids today are gonna be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? So anyway,
anyways, yeah.
I know
anyway, let's continue talking about Steven here. So Steven's signature cosplay, as we mentioned before, was Owen Hart. Feels that due to legal issues between WWE and Marth Hart, it's a shame that he's not recognized as much with the WWE itself. I blame him because he's done so much for WWE at the time. But he said that he needs to be acknowledged as not only an awesome athlete and persona, but also a great man he aspires to be. So yeah. I mean, it was such a shame that this is just my opinion, but I just kind of felt it was just such a tragedy to see Owen Hart pass away at such a young age. So it's rest in peace, Owen Hart, and he should definitely be acknowledged by WWE to a certain extent.
Definitely.
Yeah. I know we're getting off topic, but it's unfortunate with Owen just because the anniversary of his passing is coming up here in a few weeks. And then plus his Dark Side of the Ring episode, because we are going to get to hear Martha Hart. Dr. Martha Hart. She is a doctor in psychology. We're finally going to get to hear her side in a few weeks on his Dark Side of the Ring episode. So I'm really intrigued about that. Martha's been getting a lot of praise from people in regards to this whole Owen Hart situation. I know we're getting way off topic here, but I'm hearing Owen Hart and I'm just running with it. So I'm really intrigued just to hear her side of things in regards to Owen and the tragedy of his passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'll be
One thing I want to add before we get to the topic, just two quick seconds. The date of his passing, which is May 23rd, 1999, happens this year. It happens to be the same day as AEW's Double or Nothing.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
That's pretty crazy. And we're going to be talking about Double or Nothing in 2 weeks
Yep.
for our prediction. So stay tuned for that, everyone.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, before we get to the next segment, here's a quick look at Steven's cosplays in full.
All right.
So that was
Hey,
Steven.
we're back.
And we're now on to the main event segment of the show. And that is our Money in the Bank predictions and thoughts of the overall pay-per-view.
Dun, dun, dun.
Money.
Money.
Okay.
Money. Oh, wrong song. I was going for
God.
Pink Floyd there.
Yeah, that's the one thing I
It's
noticed.
drag.
Like, really quick, that like how like back in the 90s and 80s, the pay-per-views had only one theme instead of changing pay-per-view theme music every year. Money in the Bank is the only pay-per-view that keeps the same theme.
Hey, it works.
I like it. Okay, so we're about to talk about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We're going to be starting off with all the matches, and we're going to be talking about the Money in the Bank match itself last. And then we're going to kind of share some of our overall excitement level thoughts of the pay-per-view as a whole, as well as any additional things. But for starting off, we're going to talk about who we want to win, as well as who we think will ultimately win. So getting things started off, this is going to be for the SmackDown Women's Championship match. It's going to be challenger Tamina versus Bayley. What are your guys' thoughts on who's going to win, and who do you think should win?
To be, I may not be as emotionally invested in this match as some people maybe, there are people who are, because Tamina, it's been a long time coming for her to get a title shot. Do I feel like she's going to win? No. I just feel like that they're riding hot right now with Bayley and Bayley, but with her team with Sasha too. And I just feel like that they're not going to give the title to Tamina anytime soon. I feel like they're going to ride with Bayley, and Bayley's still going to walk out with the champ.
Yeah, that's a shame, because I wish they would do a little bit more with Tamina, because I mean, she can be very good in the ring, but we just don't see enough of her to really have a full assessment on her. So because she can be quite entertaining. I don't know if you guys have followed her Instagram, but she's actually been cutting some stuff on Bayley on her Instagram, so it's actually quite amusing. But in retro, honestly, I just feel like that like E said, that they're really riding high on Bayley right now, and it just seems a little bit unrealistic to put the title on Tamina right now.
Yeah. How about you, Nico?
Yeah, I mean, Tamina's been with the company for over a decade. I believe, if memory serves me correct, and if I am wrong, please do correct me. I believe Tamina is the oldest female wrestler on the WWE roster, particularly for their main roster. I believe Tamina is the oldest. It would be nice. It would be a welcome surprise if she did get a run with the title. I feel she fully deserves one. 110%, I truly do. I just don't think that right now is the time to do it. I mean, obviously it's better late than never for anyone to get a run with the title, especially that first run, which I believe if she were to win, this would be Tamina's first women's championship in the WWE, if memory serves me correct. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me.
Never been
But I just don't.
She's never won.
No.
not even Diva champ, but she's been with this company for over 10 years.
Nope.
No,
Oh,
actually,
jeez.
No,
actually, actually,
nope. I
actually,
don't.
Nico, actually, Nico, 1 second. She is the oldest at 42 years of age, and she only won a 24/7 championship, which really doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
No.
yeah, I could be 24/7 champion, but I digress. So
All
I'm
of us
not gonna,
could
I'm
be
not,
24/7
yeah,
champion.
yeah, I'm not like, no, I'm not trying to show Tamina any disrespect whatsoever. She's a badass, Samoan who could easily kick my ass. Um, but like, I'm not gonna count that 24/7 title win. Um, she deserves to be women's champion, wholeheartedly, but right now with what we're seeing with the story with Bailey and the role model gimmick, which honestly, I hated the idea of WWE turning Bailey heel. I hated it. I thought it wasn't natural. You guys know how much of a big Bailey fan I am. Um, she's winning me over. She's not winning me over as quickly as other people did turning heel in the industry, but she is getting me she's winning me over. And I just think there's so much of a bigger story that with Bailey and Sasha most likely that unfortunately Tamina is just a supportive character in that story right now. So I'm going with Bailey to keep the title on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to get into this much. Over the decade or so, Tamina's been in the company. It's nothing personal, but I've just never been a fan. Her work's never interested me. I've not seen her Instagram stuff. I'm sure they are cool, but really, I just don't have any investment in this match. Bailey should win, and she also is going to win, and most likely carry the belt till SummerSlam, but we'll see from there. But
Yeah.
I have little to no interest in this particular match, unfortunately.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
I'm calling the finish right now. Tamina goes for the Tamina goes for the top rope splash a la her father, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Tamina goes for the splash. Bailey gets her knees up. Tamina lands on the knees, and then Bailey rolls her up. 1, 2, 3. That's how I think they'll do the finish.
Fair enough. All right, so we're going to talk about the next match. It's going to be this one was more recently announced. It's a Fatal 4-Way SmackDown brand tag team championship match. The champions of the New Day will be defending against recent NXT call-up, the Forgotten Sons, the Lucha House Party, as well as former champions Miz and John Morrison. So, who would like to take the first pick on this one?
I'll go.
Okay.
I would love. I would. I fully expect the New Day to retain. I won't be surprised if they do retain. However, I would love it if the Forgotten Sons did win the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The reason being is because unfortunately we know WWE really doesn't put an investment on their tag team division. We don't know why. It's not because tag team wrestling isn't a draw. Tag team wrestling is a draw. It just has to be with the right people. It's not because Vince McMahon doesn't like tag team wrestling or somebody in that company doesn't like tag team wrestling. Just for some reason, it's not working. But the reason why I would love the Forgotten Sons to get it is because it would be something different, and nobody would see this coming. Nobody would. Nobody would predict this at all. So do that. That way you at least have some sort of shock and awe value coming out of this pay-per-view as a whole. That's my prediction.
Okay. So, how about wild card? What's your take on this match?
Yeah. Honestly, I just think New Day. It just seems more realistic that New Day is going to retain the titles. I mean, I'm not really emotionally invested in this match. There's like quite a few matches on the card. I'd say a good chunk of it that I'm
Yeah.
not emotionally invested in. But since we're on the topic there, it would be nice to see a new face to have those belts. And we obviously New Day's been champions multiple times. Miz and Morrison had a run at those titles. I don't believe Lucha House Party has ever had any run at those titles. And so it would be nice to see them, but honestly, it would be interesting to see the Forgotten Sons win this because I mean they're still new on the main show right now with SmackDown, but I think it'd be a nice change of pace to see a new team with this title over and over again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
EJV.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna go with everybody else saying New Day is gonna retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's pretty much it's right in front of us. It's not that hard to see, but the team that I would like to see is like everyone else's pick, and that is the Forgotten Sons. I've been a fan of the Forgotten Sons since NXT, and them guys have been working their asses off, and they got a great look about these guys. These guys are three big badasses who could do whatever the hell they want, and nobody's gonna stop them. You got Steve Cutler, who's a former. Steve Cutler and Jason Riker, who are both former military veterans who are absolute beasts in the ring. You got Wesley Blake, who's a former NXT Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
With Buddy Murphy.
Murphy. Yeah.
And so to me, it would be a nice change to see the Forgotten Sons finally get some gold because they were close to winning it in NXT. They actually competed in I think it was either the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic or actually got close to a number one contendership, but just barely lost out. But,
yeah, I think I was gonna say it was at the NXT Takeover. They were actually close to winning a ladder match, I believe, for the NXT tag titles.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the three-way ladder match with the Street Profits and Undisputed Era that the Forgotten Sons were in. Where
it ended up being the Street Profits winning them. So
they were literally about to win the titles. And then Montez Ford came out of nowhere with that jump way off the top that like nobody saw and landed on the top of the ladder, like right by the belts and got him. I think that was at NXT 25.
That was like the closest the Forgotten Sons. That was like the closest the Forgotten Sons have actually gotten to a tag title run.
But just to make it just to end it here, the Forgotten Sons. I want them to win, but New Day retains the belt.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. New Day retains. I'd welcome the Forgotten Sons, potentially pulling off a sneak victory, but I think it's too soon. I don't want to see the titles passing off like a hot potato or whatever this soon. Yeah. So New Day retains, and that's who I think should win the match as well. So for our next match, it's a Universal title match, so it's almost like we're going through all the SmackDown matches, or this is a SmackDown heavy pay-per-view. But this match is going to be with Universal Champion Braun Strowman defending against Bray Wyatt. And to my recollection, it appears it's actually going to be Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt and not The Fiend.
Yeah.
From what I'm looking at here.
You're pretty much dead on.
So, who would like to make the first prediction?
I guess I'll go ahead and go, guys. Braun's going to retain, in my opinion, unless they pull something pretty significant with this match. The last time that the Firefly Funhouse version of Bray Wyatt came out, first time match, he did retain, but
he won.
He won it by, of course, controversial means. And you know how deceiving the character is. Funhouse variation. He can act like he's going to take punishment, but then he dishes it right back when you least expect it. But realistically, I think Braun is going to retain in order to set up the match officially with The Fiend I just Bray is gonna get it just yet.
Very nice. Nico, how about you? What's your prediction on this match?
See, I don't know. Honestly, what I think, I'm gonna just say what I think should happen. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. Frankly, I don't really care. Um, but what should happen, in my opinion, is Braun should win, and he should win quickly. And why this should happen is because we all know when Bray Wyatt is the Fiend, he's kind of unstoppable unless he's wrestling Goldberg, but that's a different for a different day. My thing is, like Ezra kind of said, that the Bray Wyatt Funhouse Bray can take the beating and then dish out the punishment. But my thing is, Braun should at least squash Funhouse Bray quickly, just so it could be like Bray really needs to be like, wow, I really have to go to that place where I got to bring out the Fiend in order to beat this guy. However, if Bray Wyatt were to beat Braun Strowman as just Firefly Funhouse Bray, then that's kind of putting Braun in the category of, oh, he's kind of like, a weak version, just kind of like how the Miz was. Because that's pretty much what they were alluding to, that the Miz isn't at Bray's level, so he doesn't need to tap into the Fiend when they did that back at TLC or whatever. So my thing is, if they were to do that with Braun, it makes Braun look weaker. Granted, I don't care for him as Universal Champion. So I mean, I don't know. Although I guess my brain says Braun, but we'll see.
Okay, great. Wild card. How about you? What's your prediction for this match?
So the thing is, this is kind of contrary to what I just said before about me not being emotionally invested in most of the matches. But if I had to be emotionally invested in a particular match, it would be, there is some history between these two. I'm sure everyone knows that Braun Strowman was part of Bray's family way back when he was starting out. So, and it was just a good fit. What? I can't hear you.
I said what he was?
Yeah, I'm sure. And yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm
About
actually
that at some
enjoying that
point.
they're
So, yeah.
bringing this stuff back up.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice retro throwback to what Braun used to be, and so I mean, there's really good storytelling between this rivalry because of the history that they've had. So granted, I think we were all predicted at some point that Braun Strowman was gonna be a world champion just based on the way WWE's been pushing him to the moon. But I think the fact that he's working with Bray in this little story arc here, I think is going to be quite interesting. I feel like there's going to be more matches to come. So the long story short, I feel like that Bray Braun, excuse me, is going to retain the title, and that they're going to extend this storyline to more shows later on. So, because I feel like that right now, the storyline right now could extend to, multiple pay-per-views.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I agree. This is not going to be a one and done pay-per-view match for sure. I did not like seeing that Firefly Funhouse Bray fight Miz at TLC. I thought it was lame. Personally, if I were fantasy booker or whatever, I would just have the Fiend wrestle, but Firefly Bray be the talk person, and maybe sometimes have wacky appearances like he's the Joker and but anyways, I do like the storytelling in this match. I'm not overall invested because I just don't know where it's going to really go. But overall, I think that Braun Strowman's going to retain the title. He may make quick work of Bray Wyatt, like Nico mentioned. And then either next month or maybe in the July pay-per-view, we'll see The Fiend get his Universal title back that I don't think he should have ever lost, but that's a different topic. I think that, yeah, Braun Strowman wins, but The Fiend will win the overall war. So going on to the next match is for another world championship. It's the WWE Championship on the line, where champion Drew McIntyre is going to defend against the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Who would like to start this one off?
I can start it off.
Okay.
I obviously see Drew retaining and keeping the title. He's doing a good job. He's doing a great job, actually. Let me rephrase that. He's doing a great job being WWE champion with every circumstance of there being no crowd and anything negative that could be possibly going on right now is happening to him during this run. So I think he's doing a great job. And the main reason why I think he retains is because that forces Seth in this Monday Night Messiah character or persona to go further and further darker because he keeps losing the matches that he feels that he should win. Um, but yet he keeps losing. So in my opinion, that's kind of why I think it would be best if Drew retains and keeps the title on Sunday.
Very nice. Wild card. How about we start off with you next?
So I'm not too crazy about Seth being Drew's challenger for the WWE title. I mean, just because this is kind of a new opportunity for the company to kind of establish kind of a new. I kind of feel like, especially with Drew being WWE champion, because he's done a fantastic job as champion, and the matches that he's put on with even like new talent on Raw, like guys like Angel Garza, like I mentioned in a previous episode, that was fantastic. That a match that he put on. But seeing Seth as the next challenger for Drew, I just kind of felt like, okay, we've seen this before, and I don't know, it just doesn't interest me as much. And I just feel like that they could have gone a different direction with it. But I can also see that they're also trying to, get some kind of star power to wrestle Drew, for the WWE title. So, I mean, in the end, I think Drew retains the title and that he's going to continue his excellence as WWE champion.
Very nice. EJV, how about you, man?
Yeah, to basically build off what Andy and Nico said, Drew has been an excellent WWE champion. He's really, with the lack of resources, mainly the crowd, the ambiance, he's able to still build the championship's legacy and his own legacy in that retrospect. And he's really put on amazing performances, and he's really done well on the mic, like he's done since he came back to WWE in 2016, 2017. And this program with Seth, I'm interested in. Am I very emotionally invested? High? No, not really. But I think this match overall, I think it's going to be really good with the build-up that they've had over the past couple weeks on Monday Night Raw, from the contract signing to the first attack from Rollins, and the way they're building him as the Monday Night Messiah. I agree with Nico. If he goes into more of a darker version of this gimmick and it just goes down further, deeper into the abyss, and kind of just it brings out this more evil side to him, I think it's just going to make the story between them two even better, especially if this match goes on to further pay-per-views, which I think it will. In the end, I see Drew McIntyre retaining the WWE title over the Monday Night Messiah.
Agreed. Yeah, so, I mean, I think the match is going to be a great one. I'm not overly hyped for it. I think Seth is a good opponent. You can make arguments that, maybe there's other superstars he could defend. But, yeah, they needed somebody to put a high-caliber pay-per-view on, as Money in the Bank is almost the big five of the big four pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But, like you guys said, Drew's been a great champion. I don't see him losing it any time in the near future. I could definitely see some more Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre matches happening down the road. So, cutting to the chase, Drew should retain, and he will retain. So the final match we're going to be talking about, I mean, it's technically 2 matches, but WWE has kind of like, went Vince Russo on us by having some crazy concepts go on, and by putting both the men
Thank
and
God
women.
for Vince Russo. I love Vince Russo. Thank you, Vince.
So I want to say that because I was mentioning this to these guys earlier that this pay-per-view or this match, the Money in the Bank match, is the WWE's version of the movie Rat Race. If anyone's seen that.
Yeah,
I think you also mentioned Cannonball. Yep, and Cannonball Run also was talked about too. I guess I'll just start off here. Just thoughts I have on this.
Yes.
This.
Card,
yeah.
Before you share your predictions,
Yeah.
let us know what you think about the overall thoughts of the pay-per-view. Let's do that first. And
Okay.
Then read off the competitors, and then we'll make our predictions from there.
So it's very creative. It is incredibly creative, considering the circumstances. So I guess it's just another way just to kind of spice things up, because I mean they could have done this at the Performance Center and would have been like, okay, just a typical Money in the Bank match, no audience whatsoever. But I think just because with the lack of the audience, they want to make things a little bit more interesting with it. So I do actually like this concept in a way because it adds a nice creative approach to it. I mean, it's even more creative when you have the women's title match or the women's Money in the Bank match going on at the same time, and kind of going against the social distancing rules. So I don't know how they're going to go about that. But I could see this being very entertaining because I could see a lot of excitement. I could see a lot of high flying actions. I could see some comedy being thrown into this. I mean, I feel like there's going to be some funny, a lot of funny things that's going to be happening in this match, especially when you're fighting in all of the WWE headquarters. I mean, they could have like bits where they're fighting in the gym. They could be having bits where they're fighting in the cafeteria. They could be having bits where they're fighting in Vince's office. I mean, there's so many different approaches to this that it's going to make things very entertaining. So I wouldn't be surprised if, there's a lot of different elements going to be added to this match overall. But, in terms of, I guess, who I think is going to win.
Save that for after they share their thoughts, and then we'll get into the predictions.
But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts. I feel like this is going to be like chaos whatsoever.
Yeah.
EJV, yeah.
It's definitely creative. I will give them that. I was not exactly sold at first, but it took me a while to kind of, grasp the concept in my head and kind of think about what they're doing. And it is creative, and I think it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. Like I said, it's like Cannonball Run. It's like Rat Race. Hell, to me, it's like Legends of the Hidden Temple, for Pete's sakes. You gotta think the top of the roof is basically the Shrine of the Silver Monkey, where they're holding freaking. What's next? Temple guards, aka Vince's stooges, are gonna come out of the rooms. But in all seriousness, though.
90s reference.
Yeah, 90s reference for all you youngins out there. But it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be funny to see all the different things they could do throughout the WWE headquarters. And like you said, fighting Vince's office could be something funny. Damn, I get the hell out of my office. But but overall, I think it's a good concept for the time, especially with the lack of mobility to be able to do what they want because of the lack of crowd, the lack of the ambiance. So they have to do something creative to really spice it up for everybody at home. Because like you said, if you just held a Money in the Bank ladder match at a Performance Center, it's like, okay, it's just a typical match. Guy gets ladder, okay, but yay, winner. But to me, it's gonna create a level of excitement for a pay-per-view I think that WWE hasn't had in quite some time. And to me, it's a good concept, but how it translates into reality this Sunday is going to be probably the most interesting thing to see.
Very nice. Nico, share your thoughts about the concept.
Yeah. When we all first heard the Money in the Bank ladder match, I thought, okay, they'll do it at the Performance Center. It'll be fine. I'm like, wait, they're gonna do another. But my initial train of thinking was like, wait, they're gonna do another ladder match, two more ladder matches at the Performance Center when they had just did the ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Titles at Mania at the Performance. So I was like all right, like it won't be bad, but like I'm not really interested. Then when they said, oh, they're gonna do it at Titan Towers, you guys remember? For you youngsters, go look this up on YouTube. But you guys know this. You guys remember the old WWF Attitude commercial that they
Oh
did at
yeah,
Titan Tower?
I remember
That
that. Yeah.
the Super Bowl
involved,
commercial.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. It was Super Bowl. I want to say Super Bowl 32, uh, which was between the Broncos and the Packers that year in '98. But that commercial featured everybody walking through and fighting in Titan Towers. It had The Rock. I don't think Stone Cold was physically in it, but a cardboard cutout of Stone Cold was in the commercial. You had The Undertaker. You had Kane. You had Sable getting it on, or like narrating as someone was getting it on in one of the business offices. You had Mankind, and you had all this craziness going on. So when I immediately heard, oh, they're moving this match to Titan Towers, that was the first thing that popped into my head. Um, I don't expect it to go too raunchy, but I think it'd be hilarious if, say, somebody's fighting in one of the offices. We get into Vince's office. What do we see? We run into Triple H and Stephanie making out or something. And, somebody's going through a table at freaking catering. Just something, something where you're like, what in the hell am I witnessing? But we know it's going to be great. Uh, the fact that the two matches are going on simultaneously, um, I hope there was a way that they can kind of clash into each other. By that I mean I think it'd be funny if for some reason R-Truth, who isn't even in the match, just somehow comes in and then climbs the ladder and tries to grab the women briefcase or something. Um, it would be nice if maybe Otis and Mandy were in the match together. They could try to go for the briefcases because I know Otis is in the men's match. Mandy is not in the women's match, but I'm just saying, there's an idea you can go with right there, or just something to where kind of like both matches are clashing with each other. If that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
but I love the crazy idea of it running together, especially at Titan Tower, because it's something different, it's something new, and when people are like, "Oh my God, WWE's not even trying with these shows," hey, they're trying here, guys.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They are definitely trying a new inventive concept that wouldn't have been available for regular performance. I personally think that two matches going on one is a bit much, but since this is probably going to be more of a cinematic match, they'll probably make it work because obviously they'll be doing like different rat race like activities. Recently, someone said this match might actually be taking place through the whole pay-per-view. Like I know they've done that a few times in the past with some of the hardcore matches or the 24/7 thing gets around. That's one thing I have read. I kind of hope they don't go that route myself, but I think that this is going to be a pretty inventive concept. I really liked the pictures that have been shown of the Money of the Bank on top of the WWE headquarters. I do hope we see some like references to like old gimmicks or costumes worn by wrestlers and just funny antics like the things you guys all mentioned. Yeah. I really hope we see that. But I think it's going to be a fun match, and this is probably the one match that makes me most excited for the pay-per-view. So let's get down to our predictions and thoughts on who should win. I'm going to read off the competitors for both matches, and then we can make our decisions from there. Starting off for the men's match, we got Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Otis, AJ Styles, and King Corbin. For the women's match, we have Carmella, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Asuka, Dana Brooke, and Lacey Evans, who she said she's planning on putting booby traps through WWE headquarters for the match. We'll see how that plays out. So, a wild card. Let's start with your predictions.
Well, so in response to those booby traps, I'm sure one of the men will probably get caught in those too. That'd be hilarious. So, anyway, let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say the names that you read off. There's only one name to me, and I feel like this is more of a personal answer for me. And it may not make sense. Aleister Black. He is somebody who I've been like a big fan of ever since his NXT days. And I mean, and since he was brought up to Raw, I mean, he's just been nothing short of dominant. Because with his matches, I mean, the guy has all the tools to be one of the best competitors on the roster, and I feel like that this would be a huge opportunity for him to climb the corporate ladder and take that briefcase and become Mr. Money in the Bank. And that would not only, like, I feel like that by doing that, that's going to really propel just his push to potentially being a world champion. Because I feel like everybody else in this match, at least from the men's perspective, they don't really have anything to gain from it. Because, I mean, Daniel Bryan, okay, he's been champion already. Maybe AJ Styles, that'd be a nice touch. Otis, Corbin, Rey Mysterio, I'm like, if they win, I'd be like, I wouldn't be too hyped about it. But I think Aleister Black, to me, is going to be the one guy to watch out for. Because I feel like that he's somebody who could have a really good match with Drew McIntyre in the future, if possible. From the women's side of it, I honestly, again, it's I'm not too invested in that. For who I think should win this match, Shayna Baszler. I mean, I don't see why she can't be Miss Money in the Bank. Because I look at everybody else on that list. Maybe Lacey Evans, but I feel like Shayna Baszler has more to give in this match and more opportunity to shine.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't mind, we're here. For me personally, I agree with you, Andy. I think it should be, and I want it to be, Aleister Black. Like you said, he's got all the tools. Like you said, he's got the look. He's got the presence about him. His entrance, the music, everything in his athletic ability itself is off the charts. The man can hit you with a moonsault from the second rope, and the next thing, kick your head off into the third row. And that's the thing. The guy's got all the tools of the trade. He can pull off any style that he wants. And to me personally, I think if you give him the Money in the Bank briefcase, and you let him hold on to it even just for a little bit before he catches in, it's going to elevate that stock of his even further. And, to me, like you said, a match with Drew McIntyre would be awesome between them two kind of almost, in a way, two different stylistics. You got Drew, who's more of the brawler type, versus Aleister, who is more of the athletic guy who not only can strike, but also can fly around the ring if he wants to. So it's very stylistically a great match. On the women's side, that's a tough one because Lacey Evans could get it because they've been kind of pushing her a little bit too, and she's really got the tool. She's got a good look. Her promos are great, and she's good in the ring. But the most obvious one, of course, is Shayna Baszler. I'm gonna go with Shayna because of the fact her and a certain other lady named Becky Lynch have some unfinished business from WrestleMania. So I don't think it's over between them two, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for Shayna to get that briefcase and cash it in on Becky and get what she rightfully says is hers, and that is the Raw Women's title.
Very nice. Nico, what's your predictions, bro?
Okay, I'm kind of going through my head. I had an idea of what I wanted to say before we started talking about this particular topic, but then after hearing both Andy and Ezra, it's kind of making me rethink things about both of these matches. The Money in the Bank briefcase is always better on a heel because it's always better having a heel cash in, on the babyface that everybody loves and kind of steals the title and pisses everybody the heck off when you're watching the show. However, if you look at this match from the men's side point of view, none of the heels that they have in this match are really kind of worth it of that briefcase. I mean, maybe Corbin, but we've been there and we've done that already with him. Um, so I don't like the idea of him getting it. In my head, at the very beginning, I was thinking Rey Mysterio, but maybe Aleister Black. But then again, if you do that with Aleister Black, do you turn him heel? I mean, they could do that, but I don't see right now if Aleister were to get the briefcase. I think if Aleister were to get the briefcase, he'd have to keep it right away. I mean, he'd have to keep it for a bit and not cash it in right away. But then again, if you don't cash it in right away, and that's what I noticed about a lot of people with the briefcase over the past few years. If you keep that briefcase for a while, it's kind of like, okay, what do we do with this talent? While he has the briefcase, we still got to use him on TV regularly. But how do we use him so he doesn't look weak or something? So when the time comes for him to cash in, it is believable to the audience. If you notice that, go back and look at the past couple years of the people that have won the briefcase. They've been getting rid of it quite quickly. I mean, so that's all. That's what I mean. Like, you got to be careful with who you pick here. Um, on the men's side, I'm gonna go with Alistair because I think it's gotta go to somebody who you could build around. But like I said, I just don't know because do they turn him heel? Do they not turn him heel? I would like Ray to get it just because I want to see Rey Mysterio get at least one more run with the title. I think that would be cool, but I just don't know.
Okay,
From the
well,
women,
Nico, can I ask you something real quick? Let me ask you something. What's wrong with turning Aleister Black heel? He's got the look. I can see him pulling it
there's
off.
not there's nothing wrong with it except right now because you don't have an audience with these shows. When you do it, you want it to be where you get that reaction where everybody's like, "Oh shit, why?"
Okay.
You want it to be where you get that reaction from the audience, and right now we're not getting that. That's my point. And yeah, if you turn Aleister heel, okay, great. But then what? You have him turn heel, and then you have him take the title off of Drew all of a sudden, and you're like, okay, well, fuck, they just put all this investment on Drew. That just got derailed in 2 months. Because if you give the briefcase to a guy like Aleister Black, because they're using him sporadically on TV and just knockout match after knockout match, he's not keeping the briefcase long. So you either gotta if you give him the briefcase, you gotta have him cash in quick. Not like right away, but like within about a month or so. And from the women's side, um, I think it would be best for Shayna to get the briefcase, but you could also make the argument for Lacey to get the briefcase. The reason being is if Shayna gets it, you know they're gonna bide their time with Shayna. Uh, when is she gonna cash in on Becky? When is the cage fighter gonna go after Becky and just build it and build it and build it? However, if you get it with somebody like Lacey, you can immediately throw in Lacey as that wild card in the Bailey Sasha storyline when she's already been a part of it. You know, maybe Bailey and Sasha could have a killer match at SummerSlam for the belt, and then all of a sudden Lacey cashes in. Like, screw the both of you. Like, you guys are both, jerks or a-holes, whatever. And then she walks out with the SmackDown Women's title, and both Bailey and Sasha, leave with egg on their face or something. You get what I mean? Like, I know I'm kind of trying to book a little further here, but when I'm thinking about this, when you think about the Money in the Bank briefcase, you have to think, okay, if this person gets it, what can they do with this person? Do they put the title on him or her right away, or do they slow build it? But if they slow build it, then what do you do in the meantime with this person that has this briefcase? So it can be relevant in the viewer's mind of, oh, when it finally does happen, oh yeah, that's right. this person is holding the Money in the Bank. Okay, that's great. This person's about to be champion. Or, oh man, I really hate this person. Damn it, I forgot. They have the Money in the Bank briefcase. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll go Alistair and I'll go Lacey from the women's side. I'll go Alistair back on the men's side, even though I originally wanted Rey because I would love Rey Mysterio to get at least one more run with the title. I think it'd be awesome if they turned Rey heel. He can definitely be a heel. I've seen him do it in WCW. So Rey can definitely be a heel, but I don't see them doing that. So I guess I'll go Alistair on the men's side, and then on the women's side I'll go Lacey Evans.
Fair enough. Yeah. So what the thing that I'm going to be going on about is for my predictions. So first off, the thing that I was going to say is the past 3 winners have been, I don't know. Well, Brock Lesnar won. He didn't need the damn briefcase, but we know that. Unfortunately, with Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman, both of them have had failed cash-ins. Thankfully, Braun did break the curse and has won his championship despite losing the Money in the Bank. Finally, King Corbin, he does get a lot of pushes despite his Money in the Bank loss, but I personally do not want to see him win the title. I'm kind of over the guy, so
I don't mind. I don't mind if he wins the title. I just don't think he needs the briefcase.
Yeah, that's the same thinking I have. But in short, I'm just kind of over him. But for sure, not the briefcase. It'd be nice for Rey Mysterio to get his moment, or even AJ Styles, just to add another accolade to their many accolades. But Aleister Black is the clear-cut guy to give the Money in the Bank to. I think they could easily turn him heel and get him into a program with Drew McIntyre to have a bout at possibly as early as SummerSlam. I'd say wait maybe closer to the Survivor Series personally, but that could be a discussion for another thing. But Aleister Black, they need a rising star. It's been a while since they've done a rising star winning the Money in the Bank match for the men's side. I say let's just go with that. Whether they want to turn him heel or keep him a face, that can be decided on later. As far as the women's match goes, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of most of the women listed. I do like Shayna Baszler. I think she does have good potential. And Lacey Evans, her ring work isn't the best, but I think she has a great promo skills, personality. She's got the look. But of the women, I think they're going to actually kind of piss the audience off with this one. And I'm not going to go Shayna Baszler, but instead, Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax.
Damn you, why did you say it? Why?
Because she and
no.
Becky have some friction still. If you remember the whole knockout punch, I think that they're gonna put that into play.
Yeah,
I think
she's
she
got.
will finally be the one that ends Becky's streak.
Yeah.
And then build up a feud for SummerSlam. How soon she cashes in, I'm not really sure, but I just see for sure. And also, this is a bit of a spoiler. Like the WWE social media said something about Becky confronting the Money in the Bank winner this Monday. So it may possibly be someone from the Raw brand, but they always break those rules anyway. So maybe Carmella or somebody else can come over to be confronted on a brand they're not on. But that's a whole different topic. In short, Aleister Black to win the men's Money in the Bank. I'm going Nia Jax to win the women's Money in the Bank.
I'm still thinking about that thing that I guess that Asuka promo against Nia Jax on Raw. That was just hilarious. Anyway, random thought there.
Dude, yeah, Asuka's freaking hilarious the last month or so. With her character, man, it's pretty awesome. She's getting over.
Yeah, I agree. Personality.
Yeah.
She'd be a great winner. I'd be open to her winning too, but
definitely.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Not for now, at least. We'll see.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, the final thoughts here, like for the overall thing. So what would you guys say is your excitement level from 1 being worst, 10 being best of this overall pay-per-view?
I'll have to get, for me personally, I'll be modest to give it a good matches on the card. Some matches that do have potential to make the pay-per-view better. But it's just going to depend on how well WWE books it and how well the performers could pull it off without the live audience. But yeah, I give it a 7.
Okay, great. Wild card. What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 6. And honestly, I would rate this much lower, only except for the fact that the Money in the Bank match, both men and the women, it could potentially be the one that obviously saves the show, because we've seen WWE pull off some really, really strange stuff that actually gets people really entertained, with the matches. So, and the fact that this is something that they've never really done before, I feel like that this could really be quite entertaining. And if it wasn't for that alone, if it wasn't for those matches being at the headquarters, I'd probably rate this at like a 4 or 5. But the fact that they're doing this in such a creative approach, it gets a little bit of a higher bump on my grading scale. So I'd say maybe a 6 at the most.
Yeah. Nico, what's your score?
Honestly, thinking it over, I'm gonna say a 5, and that's me being generous. I have to see how the show starts out. Because honestly, other than the Money in the Bank ladder matches, I'm really not all that interested. Especially with Sunday being Mother's Day. Real quick, we'll mention again, it's in closing, but happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there in the world. If you're a mother and you're watching our show, we thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you. Mother's Day is this weekend. The Last Dance documentary on the Chicago Bulls, Part 7 and Part 8, are this Sunday. So honestly, other than the Money in the Bank ladder matches, I'm not really all that interested because everything seems too predictable. I mean, I'll look in on it, I'll watch it on the network, but I'm just like, I'm not as excited. Like, I'm not feeling it right now, and it's super weird. It's super weird. But I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Fair enough. I'm gonna side with EJB and give it a 7. I think that the Money in the Bank matches themselves are always fun. This is a little bit of a different story because it's going to be more of a cinematic match. Maybe when they reach the top of the tower, we're going to get into more of a Money in the Bank style match. We'll see how that plays out.
I don't mean to cut you off, Steve, but didn't they already film this match technically?
Yes, it's already been filmed. I don't know the full logistics, but obviously it is being filmed or has already been filmed, and it's going to be kind of playing out on Sunday. There's rumors that it's going to be.
They are definitely going to go the cinematic route. Okay, great.
Yeah. So my understanding, I've heard 2 different things. One person's alleging that the match will be taking place throughout the whole pay-per-view. And the night, I kind of hope that's not the case. I hope it's just they get to the segment and then it begins. But we'll see how that goes. I really don't know.
I could honestly see that happening because WWE headquarters is huge. And obviously, there's no way that they're gonna go through the one segment where they go through the whole building. So I mean, I feel like that there's gonna be bits where they're gonna be like, okay, breaking news, so Aleister Black, AJ Styles are fighting in Vince McMahon's office or something like that.
Yeah.
I hope they don't go the whole show with where they break in and then all of a sudden you see an elevator door open up and you see a fight breaking out or something. No, I don't want that. I mean, it would be smart because it forces you as the viewer to have to tune in because you want to see what happens next. But I really hope they don't go that route.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that route, but cutting to the chase, I'm going to still put it at a 7 out of 10 just because I think it's going to be a good way to go. So, that's pretty much it for today's show. A great time as always talking with you, gentlemen.
Of course.
As always.
Yeah. And remember, if you do want to be a cosplayer featured on the show, make sure you send us a message on Facebook and be on the lookout for when you could potentially be on one of the next episodes.
Yes, definitely. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Too Sweet Cosplay. And
YouTube as well.
Yep, exactly. And of course, gentlemen, as always, thank you guys. And one more thing, we like to say, we never got to say this on the first episode, but we like to say thank you to all the first responders, all the grocery store people who are in the front lines of this. We want to say we love you guys and thank you guys for everything that you're doing so far. I am an essential worker myself, and I just want to say to all my fellow essential workers, you guys are doing awesome. Keep it up. Stay positive. Stay safe.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Yes, sir.
And there will be
All
two
right.
sweet guys.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there too.
Happy Mom's Day.